What's up, bro? You want to talk to me?
Morgan, did you dye your hair?
No. I frosted my tips. I think it makes my eyes pop.
I don't think anyone will leave this show unchanged.
I mean, everybody's grown so much. It's crazy.
It's aged me. I have gray here in my chin.
I mean, me, if you look at me when I first started, I was 27, I'm single.
And how is Sarah adapting to being a bride?
Sarah or Ellie? Sarah in real life
How
is not adapting or anywhere close to being a bride. I have a husband, now I have a baby. I mean, my life has gone complete 180, you know?
That was a very interesting time period in everyone's life. We all went from being that kind of quarter-life crisis now to actually getting, figuring out what we want to do, and I think Chuck kind of followed that same course.
Well, I think in a way, art mimics life, art mimics life.
I've definitely kind of seen the parallels between Chuck and myself as these years have gone on.
Chuck's journey was more one where he was sort of the bumbling nerd and didn't really know what was going on, an ordinary guy thrown into extraordinary circumstances.
And as Chuck has grown as a spy and just grown in his confidence as a man, I feel like I've done the same kind of, in my own life.
When we first started the show, he was still coming out of that skinny guy, young man, and turning into like literally a man before our eyes.
I think Zach's maturity level has grown exponentially over the last 5 years.
He's going from a young Jimmy Stewart to a Gregory Peck.
You don't know Zach like I do then. Because, it is. It's very true.
Like his haircut's changed and he's definitely, Zach looks more like the spy now that he's become than the original, nerdy guy that we started off with,
You will never become physically capable.
Oh, that's messed up. Don't you think Chuck should shoot a gun at some point? Yes! They think Chuck should be awesome at some point? Yes! I don't know. They write it. I just show up and phone it in.
That's true.
I think anyone who tells you that they know, how the show is going to end exactly is lying. Something that we kind of had to factor into the show was the idea that we had a guy who was becoming more heroic as we went along.
Don't worry about me, just go.
Get in the van.
Leave me behind! Please leave!
And that was, I think, a neat part of the show because it forced us to kind of evolve the characters. Like Zach couldn't just play Chuck like he did in season 1. He had to become more of a hero.
We can't just leave him behind like that.
Guys, please don't leave me behind. I have a plan.
He had to, he had to become a man.
You are funny, you are smart, you are handsome.
Thank you.
And I think as Chuck kind of matured, he got closer to who Zach is in terms of being much more of a leader, much more, sure of himself.
Hey, dude, that was awesome.
I think being Chuck, he kind of put this thing on his shoulders and had to kind of, carry this thing, and it's kind of forced him to grow up and do a lot of stuff. And I think as a person and as an actor and as a director, he became a director on this show, which is huge.
When I started this whole ride, I was much more bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. It was like, yeah, we're doing this show and it's gonna be so much fun. And it is, but it's also a ton of work, man. It's a ton of work.
But there's still a season 1 Zach in there. It's just, he's done some grown Zep, but he's still Zach. Catch him on the right day, and he's still Zach.
Yvonne, prior to her experience here on Chuck, hadn't had much.
She was the one out of all of us. This was brand new, really. I know she's worked obviously in Australia and stuff, but to be in a new country and a network television show and to have the show become what it was, and she's just handled it like a pro.
It's really been an honor and a pleasure to see the kid grow up.
I've seen her grow tremendously as a woman, as an actress.
Now she's this accomplished Hollywood starlet.
Looks like you walked into the wrong cult, bitch.
I feel like I've gotten to play one of the greatest characters ever on television because I feel like I got really lucky to be able to do action and drama and comedy and romance all in one show, and it's really been a journey for me because I started off as being the real serious sort of character who was emotional on the inside but never could show it.
I was very excited to be sort of finally part of some of the happy stuff and some of the comic moments of the show. I loved it. And there's probably going to be more of that this season, I hope. Please.
There's no comedy this season. No.
I think for her,
You know, she was always excited about the physical part of Sarah Walker, but it was always really important, you know, with Sarah Walker to have that emotion underneath that, you know, she looked at Chuck's life, his normal life, and that was something that she always longed for.
Well, this isn't something that I've ever told anybody. When I was a little girl, I always imagined what a real family would feel like.
You're looking at the evolution of a character from kind of hardened spy, you know, action movie spy, and now she's become much more of a full character. We've learned about her backstory. We've learned why she doesn't talk to her mom. We've met her father. We saw how she grew up, and now we know so much more about her. And if you talk to Sarah Walker from 5 years ago and you say, listen, in 5 years, you're gonna give up everything. You're gonna fall in love with this guy, Schnook, who works at the Buy More. And you're gonna think about a family and all these things. It's incredible for her to hear about that. She doesn't believe it.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Joining a cult. Strip. Come on.
The other thing, too, for Yvonne is that she's just so freaking funny. It's like we've just found so many comic opportunities.
It wasn't something that was probably she was expecting to do, and it's not something you usually see from the character, but she's as game at putting herself out there comically as anyone else in the cast.
You know, back in the day, she would play the hardened spy, but we didn't know that we could write to the fact that she's funny, too, and that she can play with the big boys and the comedy side of things.
Oh, bunny doll, veil, bunny doll.
Why don't you guys come to my party tomorrow?
Okay.
Excelente.
Gomez, he's the same. He's just a little and we don't like him at all still. No, I'm kidding. Love him.
I love Josh Gomez has been incredible through the entire process of the show because he started off as this character, you know, essentially the guy that Chuck talked to.
Yeah.
His best friend. Because when you made a show in 2007, you had to have a slacker best friend. But what was beautiful about Gomez and what he brought to it was that he brought this warmth. He wasn't cynical. He was like this great cheerleader for Chuck. He was filled with love for Ellie Bartowski, and he loved this family. And I think that that has been, you know, a part of his character throughout the process.
Yeah, in the beginning, Morgan was a little bit of an impediment to Chuck. He was the guy who was always getting in the way. And I think that wasn't playing to Josh's strengths. And as we kind of got to know all the actors better and were able to kind of write to who they were in real life, we were able to walk this really fine line with Morgan where he was funny and lovable, but he was no longer kind of getting in the way.
Guys, I know Kung Fu.
It's so much fun as an actor to kind of get hired to do one thing and then slowly get to play all this other stuff, play in this other playground. And so that was sort of like, oh, good, yeah, this is something new to play.
No. Don't scuff it, all right, Cabbage Patch?
Morgan's a sweet, lovable, loyal friend, and then he gets to be a total douche. And that comes so naturally to me, playing that, so.
What is going on with you? You smell like the Glendale Galleria.
It's Ed Hardy. I'll send you a bottle.
You know, he's someone you can really rely on in a scene to make it, give it that little extra sparkle.
Mr. Baldwin, you are well known for a series that people here may have heard of, Firefly.
We kind of, in the very beginning, put this whole thing on Adam's shoulders because he already had that status, you know, with the people we wanted to be in with, you know. We were like, cool, we have Adam Baldwin on our show, they'll hopefully accept us, you know. And Adam kind of took that upon, you know, he took that on his shoulders.
Adam Baldwin is status quo. He came into this show a badass and he leaves a badass. And I only hope that, you know, the legions of Firefly fans put Chuck, you know, at that level with him.
I'm on Chuck now.
Have I changed? Well, older.
I won't speak for Adam. I don't want to speak for Adam. I don't think, you know, it's like, you know, but I do think for Casey that there's truly been an evolution, but it's a suppressed evolution because he doesn't want to tell anybody that he's changed.
Has there been an evolution with Adam and Casey? Isn't he just grumpy all the time?
You know, he plays this, you know, the big, gruff, tough guy, but he's a sweetheart.
Well, yeah, I guess he's gotten a bit softer in his old age here. He's had a family introduced into his life that he needs to care about more, and it's, in some regards, weakened his skills, I think. And so there's this struggle to regain them and use them again in missions.
His evolution is incredible, maybe the greatest of the entire show, from where he starts in the pilot to where he is today.
Casey's, we don't like to open up, make ourselves vulnerable. Because when someone does rip our heart out and stomp on it right in front of our eyes, it can be like the worst torture of all.
Casey has softened over the years, and so has Adam, because he likes to be the tough guy. I'm the big man on set. So I think he has less of that now. He's just a big teddy bear, really. He pretends to be tough.
You really think I've changed?
He still calls me moron, and you know, I think numbnuts is just one of his other favorite things. That's all real. On or off the camera. That's, you know, face palm once in a while. But no, he's great.
Is Casey Morgan's cologne?
Unfortunately.
Every character's an evolution. Just in 5 years of the show, it's allowed us to explore all of our actors and see their warm side, as well as their scary side, as well as those strong, big emotions.
Oh, no, you did not.
Yeah, you don't leave here unchanged. You don't leave here without having grown. And I think we're all better off for it. And yeah.